Monday, everyone. We have some fun in store for you guys today. We have a strength day to start off the week today, you guys. So let's get ourselves ready to go. This is gonna look very, very familiar to last week's strength work, but a slight little difference with some reps in terms of some building of some reps. So that might have to work with adjusting your weights per se, or you might have to dig deep and just say, all right, we got a couple more reps coming our way. Let's rock it. All right, so before we get to our work set, let's talk about what's to come. We have a wide stance, good morning, to side lunge for 2. We have 3 reps of that sequence into a dynamic triangle for 3 aside, sumo squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo, windmill for 6 alternating, plank to bear squat for 3 to 5, and a 1 to 2 round kind of takedown. So what we got there is a nice little warm-up that's going to take you top to bottom and just get you comfortable and ready to go. Our first work set today is going to be 3 to 5 rounds, depending on how much volume and or time you have for our day today. So 3 to 5 rounds, we have goblet squat, 15 reps at a 3:03 tempo. So 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. Moving pretty smooth with that, working on taking that dumbbell from the chest and taking it all the way down. Single leg RDL for 5 aside. You can use that dumbbell if you'd like to use from your goblet squat for 5 reps at a 3-second eccentric for tempo down, normal stand up. From there, you're going to get 20 seconds of rest, and in that 20 seconds, you're going to grab yourself a PVC or a broomstick, or a dowel, or a hockey stick, or whatever you have laying around the house. You're going to do some PVC overhead squats for 10 reps at a 3:03 tempo. Again, we're using this PVC overhead squat to work on your range of motion in the squat, work on that overhead position, and really start opening up those positions for yourselves. After that, we have a dumbbell deadlift for 8 reps at a 3:03 tempo, and then you'll rest for 90 seconds and take that whole piece down again. Like last week, what we want to try and keep are these 2 little couplets that we have here separated by the rest. We want to try and keep these 2 couplets like supersets. So taking the goblet squat right into the RDL, then you get a little rest, and then taking that overhead squat right into the dumbbell deadlift. So try and keep the transitions as small as possible so that you can allow your body to kind of use that accumulated fatigue and tackle that next phase. Once we're done with that, we'll move into the upper body focus. Again, 3 to 5 rounds, depending on what time frame you have, how much volume you want to give yourself for the upper body. We have our dumbbell floor press for 15 reps also at 3:03. Dumbbell fly for 12 at a 6-second negative, all right, so a 6-second open. Rest 20 seconds. Dumbbell bent row, 15 reps per side at a 3-second negative, and then a dumbbell lateral raise for 12. So we have 90-second rest between those rounds. Take them down 3 to 5 rounds. See how it goes, see where you want to go, and you're going to get a good little pump on, good little sweat, and you're going to get some good hearty strength out of this. So let's warm you up, get you ready, and we'll have some fun today. All right, you guys, let's get ourselves going. We got a little bit of warm up to take down today. So let's take those feet under the hips, take the arms up big and tall. Big reach over to one side. We'll take it over to the other side, big stretch. Come back up, scratch your back, and then reach through the elbow. Take it back up, big stretch. Scratch your back and reach through the elbow. Oh yeah, come back up, big stretch. Take it all the way down the floor, touch those toes. We'll walk up the shins. Come down, frame of foot. We'll step it back into our lizard. And then from here, we'll just take the inside hand all the way up. We're gonna rotate forearm to the floor. Come back up. And we're gonna rotate forearm to the floor. Back up. And rotate forearm to the floor, and back up. Plant the hand, outside hand is going to reach way up overhead. Plant that hand as well, step back into your down dog, setting those shoulders, softening those knees and heels. We'll come back into our plank, we'll step the foot up, nice and square in those hips. Inside hand's going to reach way up. We'll rotate forearm to the floor, come back up, rotate forearm to the floor, come back up, and rotate forearm down, and back up. Plant the hand, outside hand's gonna reach way up. We'll plant that down, we'll step back into our down dog, reaching those hips. We'll come back into our plank, pulling those ribs and hips in, pressing those shoulders up to the sky. We'll tiptoe those feet up. We're gonna roll ourselves all the way up overhead, big stretch. Clasp those fingers, big press up and reach. Press and reach. Good, we'll come back down. And we'll get you guys ready to go. All right, so if you'd like to do some more gentle warm-up, maybe some cat-cows, thread the needles, a little bit more lizard lunge or more lower body warm-up, please do so. Be my guest and pause that video, come back to me, and we're gonna go through that first phase of warm-up. So that first phase of warm-up is gonna consist of some nice wide stance, good morning, to our side lunge. So our wide stance needs to be just that. It needs to be pretty wide. So we wanna make sure that we have a good, comfortable stance that we can hinge at and we can side lunge to. So I'm gonna squeeze my glutes. My toes are gonna be slightly turned out. I'm gonna try and keep my big toes on the floor, but my weight is gonna be through my midfoot. So I'm gonna squeeze, take a big breath, pull the hips back, softening my knees as I hinge, and then stand up nice and tall, big squeeze, and then I'm gonna take my hip towards my heel, trying to keep my chest up as high as I can. My knee is gonna track the toe, just like a squat. So I pull my hip back a bit, take it towards the heel, keeping my chest up high, and stand. And then I'll go through my next rep. So I'm gonna take it profile so you guys can see. So again, same stance, nice and wide. I squeeze my glutes, I pull back, keeping my knees soft, nice and solid. I'll come back up nice and tall. I'll take my hip down towards my heel, standing tall, nice and smooth, and then hip towards my heel. I'm trying to stay as upright as I can, trying to work on that good squat mechanic so that I keep everything solid and in line with my toe. Take your time on those, you guys. There's no rush on that wide stance, good morning to side lunge. Use that side lunge because it's going to really help benefit that squat. From there, we're going to bring our feet in to our sumo stance. So my toes are going to be turning for this one. So I'm going to turn directly to the side. The other toe is going to be on an angle. I'm going to take one hand to the thigh, the other hand pressing way up to the sky. My body is on a slight angle, all right, away, not quite lined up with my toe. I'm facing kind of in the middle. So as I do this, I'm going to pull my hip back to tip my body, and I'm going to keep that arm reaching to the ceiling. So I keep it straight, and I keep it up towards the sky. Remembering, we want to make sure that we're listening to our body, so we're taking it only as far as we can maintain that nice reach overhead and that straight arm. And then we come back up. And these also don't have to be fast. We want to make sure that we're taking our time and we're getting that good hip hinge. And we're pulling the hip back, keeping the leg straight, which is going to allow us to come down the shin. All right, so really take the time to feel that little shift in weight and take it down. After that, we stay in our sumo stance. We're going to work our sumo squat. So my toes are slightly turned out. I'm going to do one facing the camera, then one facing profile. So I'm going to push my knees out just a little extra as I take my hips to my heel. My weight stays through the midfoot. My big toe stays down, and I stand. So we want to really feel that nice flat foot contact the entire time we rock this squat. My toes turn slightly out. I'm upright. I take it down. Knees go slightly out. I stand tall, working on those good squat mechanics. So flat foot contact, weight through the midfoot, hip to heels, tall chest. After that, we stay in our squats, our sumo squat stance. We're going to work a little windmill action. So I'm going to take one hand, reach it to the sky. I'm going to keep my knees soft like I did in my good morning. I'm going to pull my hips back, but I'm also going to rotate at my low rib. Keeping my arms straight up to the sky. I'm going to take it as far down as I can. I don't have to go flat palm to the floor. And then I'll switch my hands out. I'll pull my hips back, rotate towards the floor. I'm just going to take it to where I feel comfortable. So if I can't quite touch the floor while still keeping this arm up to the ceiling, that's okay. You're just going to take it down to where you can. And I want you to ease into this motion. This is not meant to be for time or for speed. This is about feeling that rotation, feeling that control, and trying to keep that shoulder in a good position, just like we do when we do our Turkish get-ups and we do our overhead position. We want to focus on that shoulder staying nice and strong the whole time and not dumping inwards. So make sure we have that good strong neck. From there, afterwards, we're going to take it to the floor. We're going to kind of warm up the shoulders a little bit more in our bear squat. So I'm going to get set up on the floor. My feet are going to be kind of a squat stance or a hip width stance. I'm going to pull my ribs and hips in, press my shoulders to the sky, establish that good plank, and then you're gonna pull my hips back towards my ankles into that bear squat. And then you're gonna come straight back out. So again, pulling my hips back, armpits pointing towards the floor, and pressing and gripping into the floor with my arms, and then maintaining that good solid shoulder that we were trying to maintain in the windmill. So like our down dog, we want to feel those shoulders active, almost like those lats are coming around and giving us a giant hug as we take that bear squat down. The only difference between the down dog and the bear squat is we lower down, so our hips stay low and they go between our ankles opposed to going up on that angle. So as a quick little recap, you guys, we have a wide stance good morning to side lunge for 2, 3 times through that little sequence, dynamic triangle for 3 a side, sumo squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo, windmill for 6 alternating, plank to bear squat for 3 to 5, 1 to 2 rounds. Just get your body moving well, check in with everything, and then we're gonna move into our first work set. So pause the video, take it down, and then join me for that next work set. We're gonna start off with our goblet squat. So again, we're gonna focus in on those good squat mechanics. So my feet this time are gonna be just outside my hips, in between my shoulders. I'm not going too wide like my sumo, but I'm gonna find that nice shoulder to hip width stance. My dumbbell is gonna come up under the chin. I'm gonna keep my elbows pretty close to the front, so it's almost like a front squat, but not quite, all right? So again, stay tight, weight through the midfoot. We pull the hips towards the heels, chest stays tall, nice and solid, pushing through that flat foot, and standing nice and vertical. The nice thing about the goblet squat is it gives you a counterbalance, which keeps you upright or helps you stay upright a little bit more if we tend to bend over during our squat. Only take these as deep as you can feel your position and maintain that good strong squat stance. Right after my goblet squat, I'm gonna either use my dumbbell or not in my single leg RDL. So I'm gonna pick my favorite foot, I'm gonna plant my toe on the floor like a kickstand, my hips are square, I'm gonna pull my hips back, bring that dumbbell down towards my knee or just below my knee, and stand tall. I'm keeping my shoulders pulled back, keeping my body nice and tight as I take that body down towards the ground and stand tall. So again, you can also, I'm gonna show you some different options for this. If I'm holding the dumbbell in this hand, I can choose to hold it to the front. I can hold it to the side of the leg that's balancing. I'll still take the dumbbell just towards the knee or just below. And or I can take it to the side of the leg that's being the kickstand. And I can work on that slight position. This is the position I find easiest in terms of staying square with the single arm. I find this one, sometimes people tend to shift too much to one side. So play with them. Neither position is better nor worse. I just want you to pick the one that challenges you the most, but allows you to feel that engagement through your glute and through your hamstring. Now, our next exercise is the overhead. All right. So our next movement is the overhead squat. We're gonna use a PVC or a broomstick or a hockey stick or anything you have laying around the house that you can use in place of a barbell. And we're looking for it to be really light because I want you guys to use your body and your ability to put you where you want to go with this squat. So my hands, first off, are going to be a wider grip. We want to have them wide enough that my arms can stay straight. As I hinge, I'm going to have that barbell or bar kind of in my hip crease. So we want to make sure we have a nice wide grip. I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see my position. I'm going to be in my regular squat stance, so that nice hip to shoulder. I'm going to pull the bar overhead. And in this overhead, I want to think about having a neck. My elbow pits are facing up towards the ceiling. My armpits are kind of rotated a little bit to the front, but mostly neutral. Pressing into the bar, maintaining my neck. I am going to press into that bar the entire time. I'm going to take my hips to my heels. My knees are going to track the toe. I'm going to hold that bar in place as I hit that squat and then stand. The bar, we really have to focus on holding it in place because it's going to naturally want to go forward, but we need to keep it over our center line the entire time. So we have to really focus on pressing into that bar and then executing our normal squat mechanics. This is an extremely challenging squat position to be in, especially if you struggle with ankles and or hip mobility. So I only, again, want you to take it as far as you can maintain position, not only for your hips and ankles, but for that overhead as well. So if you feel that bar starting to move on you or contort your body, stop the squat at that edge, come back up nice and smooth. The nice thing is we're moving at a slow enough pace that you can really focus on those positions. Right after the PVC overhead squat, we have our deadlift. So I have my dumbbells here and I'm gonna stand over top of them. If you'd like to do your first deadlift with that sumo stance position, I am totally behind it because it is a little more awkward getting the dumbbells into position depending on what size you have for them. So I'm gonna stand over top of my dumbbell. I'm gonna take my hips back and down as I keep my chest up nice and high, and I'm just gonna stand them up and then take them to the outside of my body. I'm gonna turn to the side now so you can see where my dumbbells line up in my back position. My feet are just under my hips or slightly outside depending on your range. I'm gonna keep my dumbbells to the side of my body. I'm gonna pull the hips back, but my weight's gonna stay through my laces and my midfoot. Once I get the dumbbells to my knee, I'm gonna take everything straight down and maintain that nice position. I don't necessarily have to touch the dumbbells to the floor, but if I can and have that range, I can. But I want you to focus primarily on your back position. So as I take my hips back and down, my back position stays good, strong. I'm keeping that solid hinge position in check. So we want to make sure we're only going down as deep as we can maintain position for all of our deadlifts. So as a quick recap, we have 3 to 5 rounds. Goblet squat, 15 reps, 3 second down, 3 second stand for each rep. Right into our single leg RDL for 5 per side at a 3 second negative. You can load that or not. Then you'll rest 20 seconds. You'll grab your PVC or your PVC option, and you'll do a PVC overhead squat for 10 reps at a 303 tempo. Then you'll grab your dumbbells, dumbbell deadlift at an 8 reps, 3 second down, 3 second up tempo with a 90-second rest at the end of the round, and you'll repeat that 3 to 5 times. Pause the video, take down that work set, you guys, have fun with it and enjoy. I'm gonna jump over to that next phase and get you going with that upper body work set that's coming your way. So our upper body work set, again, is 3 to 5 rounds. We're gonna start with our dumbbell floor press and go right to our flies. So if you have 2 separate loadings for your floor press and your flies, have them handy and close by because we're staying on our back the entire time for this work set. For the demo, what I have is just one lighter set that I can use for both, but you guys will definitely have the ability to go heavier on the floor press. If you only have access to one set of dumbbells, but you want to load the flies, make sure it's light, maybe use some water bottles, some cans. It doesn't have to be heavy to be effective for what we're trying to get out of this fly. So I'm gonna get myself set up on the floor. My dumbbells are gonna be on either side. I'm gonna lay down like I'm gonna do a bridge. So my feet are gonna be flat and my dumbbells are gonna be down the side of my body. My shoulders are in line and in contact with the floor, almost pinched back. But my low back is in a natural lumbar curve, so I'm not trying to hollow out like I do in our tuck hollows or a lot of our gymnastics movements. I'm keeping a natural low back position. My dumbbells are going to be stacked over top of my wrist, making sure, my wrist will be stacked over top of my elbow, and my elbows are going to be at about a 45 degree, just like when we do push-ups. When I start this movement, it's going to be down by my sternum. I'm going to take a big breath. I'm going to press, finishing over my shoulder, and then as I come down with the dumbbell, my elbows are going to come to that 45, and the dumbbell's going to be at my sternum. So then again, I press, arms are nice and straight, shoulders are still in contact with the floor, and then I come back down, maintaining that good position. So taking my time with that, I'm really working on kind of the same position as I would for my push-ups, and that's where that's going to have a really good transferable skill from building that strength for both movements. Now, the next exercise is my fly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my arms straight to the sky. On this one, I am going to press my low back into the floor and hollow out. And I'm going to keep my low back and my shoulders in contact with the ground as I slowly open my arms out to the T. So my arms are opening up. I'm going to take it all the way down if I can, and finish over top of my chest and shoulders. I keep them going out to the side on that T position. Low back is touching the floor, and I come back together. So I'm really taking the time on that 6-second eccentric to make sure my low back and shoulders stay in contact with the ground, and then come back up. If by chance when you're lowering, you feel your low back and your shoulders want to come off the ground, stop, and then come back up, and only take it to your range of motion. So with this, I'm just going to come up onto my knees for a second. When I'm going in on my back and I'm lowering, my arms are going to stay even with each other at this T position. We have to really watch out that they don't go up and or down. We're trying to go straight out, so we open up the pecs and the chest, and we work on that good position and come back through, staying tight through here and set through the shoulders. From there, what we have is a dumbbell bent row. So it's one of our favorites. Again, it's a great pulling exercise to build that upper back. So I'm going to grab my bench. I'm going to grab an ottoman, chair, whatever I've been using. I'm going to take my knee onto that bench, my hand underneath, so I'm almost in a tabletop position. I'm going to let this shoulder holding the dumbbell kind of sink down a bit, but I'm still staying engaged. I'm going to engage through the shoulder, pulling with the upper back, and I'm going to pull the dumbbell into my chest / hip. And then come back down with a 3-second lower. I'm going to release that shoulder a bit, pull back with the shoulder and the upper back, pulling to my hip, keeping that elbow nice and tight, and then again, 3-second lower down. Something that's really important to keep in mind as well with this movement is the orientation of my shoulder to my ear. I want to keep the shoulder back and down, not shrugging up as I pull. So I want to make sure as I pull back, I'm pulling back and not shrugging towards the ear, and I want to make sure I have a neck the entire time I pull this dumbbell to my hip. So really take the time. We're not trying to throw around the dumbbell with momentum, so it's always nice to give yourself a slight pause at the bottom, and then we can take that breath, reset, come back up. The pull portion does not have to be a tempo, but we want to make sure, again, we're not ripping it up. We're pulling with control and then controlling the eccentric down for 3 seconds. Our last exercise is a lateral raise. And again, like the fly, this is not going to be super heavy, so please don't try and do this one with heavy loads. If you have the dumbbells or the soup cans or water bottles that you've been using for your flies, this can be a really good exercise for that. You can even do it empty-handed, and I'll show you what that's all about. But with weight, my feet are going to be under my hips, my glutes will be tight, my ribs pulled in, so I'm nice and solid. And I'm going to have my palms facing inwards towards the hip. I'm going to pull my arms up to my T and come back down. I pull up, palms stay facing down and down. And I'm using that engagement. I'm not whipping them up, and I'm also not trying to control them down too much, but I'm controlling them enough that I have a good solid movement speed, that I'm not crashing or whipping the dumbbells around. So without dumbbells, you can get a really good exercise with this as well, acting on your own resistance. If you have a resistance band, you can stand on one end and do single arm at a time, right? So you can do 12 on one side, 12 on the other side. But you can also just work on tension. So pretend like you're holding on to dumbbells and then slowly pull those arms up to the T and then slowly come back down. And you can work on that kind of nice concentric and eccentric motion without any weight at all, but pretending that you have weight. So taking your time, maybe a 3 to 4 second lift, 3 to 4 second lower, moving with intent, keeping the arms straight. It'll be a nice sensation, good control, and a really nice opportunity to work that lateral movement. You can also do that same style with the flies and just work and pretend like you're pulling apart an elastic band and then pushing it back together. So you can actually get away with not having any weight there, but still getting a really good pump and burn with those arms. Quick recap on these exercises for our upper body work set. We have a 3 to 5 rounds. Dumbbell floor press for 15 reps at a 303 tempo. Dumbbell fly for 12 reps at a 6-second eccentric. 20 seconds rest after that, and then we get our dumbbell bent row for 15 aside at a 3-second lower, and a dumbbell lateral raise for 12 reps. No tempo, but if you're going to use empty hands, definitely add a little tempo and add in a little bit of engagement there. You'll get 90 seconds rest after that round. Have some fun with it. Do what you need to do. Drink some coffee on that rest. Get some water in you. But have a lot of fun today, you guys. It's a busy day. Lots of movement, lots of strength. But have fun. Work for quality. And we'll see you tomorrow with a slightly higher heart rate. Bye, you guys.